This man is Nick Conrad. He is from LBC Radio and he's going through the newspapers today. And we go, Nick, first of all, the front page of the Times. David Cameron, they're basically saying, well, look, he's talking like a leader now. He's talking about what he's going to do in government on Friday. Good move or bad move?
I would suggest this is a bad move. All the polls out this morning, having a look at what we're saying on Sky, are heading towards a hung parliament. And some people would say it's rather dodgy to be talking about what I would do on Friday if I was your Prime Minister when it's so inconclusive at the moment. And opposition leaders, by tradition, even though tradition has been thrown out of the window with this election, never talk about a victory before it actually happens. They think it's bad luck. And I would suggest probably in this case he's talking a little bit too soon. The great thing about this election is we haven't got a clue what's going to happen.
Well, could I suggest act the part and you'll be treated as if you are the part?
That, well, from a marketing perspective, I would say that that's a very, very fair point. And he's come out and he has said, if I was your Prime Minister, which is very emotive, if I was your leader,
Yes.
And I think some people will be seduced by that.
If I was your leader, he should be saying, I'll get off this stupid bike and pack it away and get in an armour-plated Jaguar. And then people would actually, then he would look like a Prime Minister.
True.
But the bike will have to go and all that business.
So they could all arrive in convoy at all these events with the motorcycles, with the blue flashing
Well,
lights.
that's what I would do. Personally, if I was to be your Prime
Or in a
Minister,
helicopter.
I would have Outriders and blacked out Range Rovers.
I'd quite like you to be
think,
my
yes,
Prime Minister,
that would be-
Eamon.
that would
but
be
maybe
good.
not with the Britney Spears
And
thing
an
on
Air
your
Force
phone.
One parked somewhere or other.
Wait, just, sorry,
Yes.
I must show you this because
Yes,
it's
you
already
must.
been on Sky News. There you go, have a look at that. That's Samantha Cameron's haircut, looking like she's got dreadlocks.
Hit me, baby, one more
Sorry,
time.
I had to get that in there, she was awful.
She was dancing too. That was...
Live from Glasgow, now on BBC Two, it's The Review Show with Kirsty Walk.
On The Review Show tonight, every man desires to live long, but no man would wish to be old, would they?
But what interested me was the fact that they actually managed to keep the original text, and it worked very well with this new narrative. And I was quite surprised by that because I thought they'd have to change things around and move it on a little bit. The first half, I agree with you both, was actually quite funny, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought I'll get to the interval, I'll have an orange juice because I want to concentrate on the text. Unfortunately, I never quaffed a Pinot Grigio fast enough because by the end of it, I was starting to get bored, and it had lost what I really wanted Romeo and Juliet to be because I wanted to believe in the characters.
So you wanted more passion?
I wanted far more passion, and we just saw it in the clip there when they kissed. It was very stuttery. There was no passion. I'm not saying I want full-on snogging on the stage, but I want to really believe in them.
Well, let's deal with everybody's fine first. Nick, do you think this is quite an affecting portrayal of that kind of dissonance between the generations?
In a word, no. I think it was a Hollywood movie which was entertaining, but I didn't really take a great deal of debate out of it in regard of how the two generations interacted. I think there was a lesson in terms of parenting that is you need to talk to your children, especially from a bloke's perspective. And I found that quite interesting because I think a lot of men don't open up to their kids. And I think that obviously caused problems for Robert De Niro's character later on down the line. So if I'm going to take anything from this film, apart from an hour and a half of great entertainment, is talk to your children when they're younger. The big thing about this is that lots of people have become quite interested in geography and volcanoes, and I was swatting up last night all about volcanoes, and the pronunciation is, if you looked at this just in terms of words on a piece of paper, it would read as I Jaff Jail A J O cool, right? That's wrong, right? I'm going to impress you now, okay? Ivazuka th. Ivazuka th. And don't forget the th on the end, which is Icelandic.
So that's the name of the volcano that's causing all this mischief.
Here's what I don't understand. Right, so the plumes come out and they elevate to 30,000 feet where airplanes fly. Right. Why don't we just fly the airplanes at 20,000 feet or 15 or 500 feet?
Eamon, I can answer that.
Why?
Because if you fly an aeroplane at a lower altitude, you have got a higher pressure, so the resistance to the aeroplane is even more, which means it burns more fuel, so it can't go a greater distance. And so therefore, it's more economical to fly at a higher altitude rather than a lower altitude, because the plane wouldn't be able to go so far.
But it could go, but it would just cost them more. So it could get me back to Belfast. That's no time at all.
No, but you've only got a certain amount of fuel on board, Eamon.
Yes, but we can go to Belfast, for goodness sake. We could jump to Belfast.
Oh, get a ferry.
Or get a ferry.
We're off to Holyhead tonight, this one.
Very good morning. You're watching Sunrise this Friday morning with me, Mark Longhurst, live through till 9 o'clock. Still to come, all the papers with Nick. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Gillian will update us too on the rest of the headlines. But first, more on our top story with Ecuador's president having been rescued, as it were. Planet Red Ed.
Now, I love this. Now, right, I'm going to give this a go, OK. Now, in France, this is Red Ed. He's been dubbed Red Ed here by the popular papers. Right the way across Europe and indeed the world, he's going to continue with that title of being Red Ed. Of course, this is Ed Miliband, who is the new Labour leader. In France, they're calling him Ed Le Rouge. In Germany, De Rote Ed. Have I got that right? In Spain, Ed El Rojo. Rojo. And it goes on. I'm not even going to try the Greek because that's impossible.
Well, I think that gets the prize for the Scrabble competition politics prize.
Go on, Mark.
Cocky View Evd, I think.
Not better than
with
I have.
apologies to all our Greek viewers, because I've probably said something completely disgusting.
I hope not. I hope not. But it's important, though, because very often when leaders come to power, they find it very difficult to shake off their initial tags, IDS.
And their brother, yeah.
And their brother, yeah, indeed. But, you know, IDS had this problem as well, and William Hague, when they called him a Tory boy. And even though he doesn't like being called Red Ed, he wants to shake it off. He seems a bit bitter about that title. I think he's going to struggle over the next few years.
Especially with that choice of tie. But there we are.
Because he's so irritated by it, it gives people the impetus to carry on even more.
You just want to wind him up, don't you? That's the problem.
Some very funny photographs of Catherine Jenkins and Tiger Woods at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Unveiling.
Yes. Well, now I feel sorry for all of those individuals on the American team because they have been caught by a rather keen snapper leering at Catherine Jenkins.
Well, I don't know if leering's quite the right phrase.
Oh,
I think
come
maybe
on,
just
look at some of these photos that are in the press this morning, especially the one that's on your screen right now. You can see the two gentlemen behind Catherine
they're
Jenkins.
assessing the fairway, aren't they? Really, that's what it is.
But you can't tell whether they are actually looking at her because the trick of the camera.
Gillian.
They could be looking past. You can't tell.
They're most certainly looking at her, most certainly. And of course, all the speculation in the press is Tiger Woods, with the problems that he's been having of late. I'll go no further into that. That maybe the attention won't be on his sport over the next few days, but his private life. And of course, he as a golfer is trying to get it firmly back on his ability on the fairway and not the birdies.
Oh, or in the bunker.
That was an awful joke.
Thank you very much indeed. We shall look at the golf in more detail with Charlie coming up, and the weather too for Celtic Manor. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
More from Nick a little later on our website.
These are tough times for many people, particularly those without steady incomes. One of the groups hardest hit is men over the age of 50 who've lost their jobs and are finding it almost impossible to get back onto the career ladder. Nick Conrad has the story.
This is where we used to live. It's 4 bedrooms. For 3 years we lived a happy existence and tried to make everything work out. It was disheartening to watch my kids putting all the stuff out here and then everybody watching us move. It's something that you don't actually see every day.
George Sapidas was forced out of his home in Basildon shortly after losing his job as a delivery driver. With no income, he couldn't afford to keep up his mortgage payments.
He must have been absolutely gutted.
I was so gutted that even now I'm still feeling the brunt of it, because every day I sit down and wonder, where did I go wrong? Or if I did go wrong, what did I do and how could I remedy it? So, yes, definitely.
George isn't alone. Latest government figures show that unemployed men over 50 are finding it harder to get back into work than any other group, including women of the same age. If you're over 50 and a man, you're 10 times more likely to still be out of work after a year than be back in a job.
Good evening. It's been a day of commuter hell for some people travelling in Cambridge today after a train broke down just before Foxton Station at around 5 o'clock, leaving passengers stuck for hours. Some people became so frustrated by the delays, up to 15 of them forced open the doors to walk along the tracks to the station. British Transport Police were called to the scene, who had the train locked. The first Capital Connect service was only evacuated in the last hour. A pedestrian has died after being hit by a car in Littleport. The victim, a 28-year-old woman from the area, had been jogging along 10 Mile Bank early this morning when the accident happened. The driver of the car, a 31-year-old woman, suffered serious injuries and was taken to Addenbrooke's Hospital for treatment.
Our homes produce a quarter of Britain's carbon emissions. Today, one of our councils revealed its strategy to reduce emissions by up to 75%. It's called the Greenhouse.
Solar panels to heat your home and water, a pump to suck heat from the air into your house, a rainwater harvesting system, and even a biodiverse roof to improve insulation.
That's it from me. Newsnight starting on BBC Two, but from everyone here at Look East, have a good weekend.